And we are back. Well, we got two titles coming up. One wholesome family. But first, the most dysfunctional family in DC Comics.
Yeah.
And their story is a little bit different. You can look at the wholesomeness, and maybe some people like Batman says, this is too much, you're seeing too much good. Superman seeing, we're not seeing enough good. We need to be brighter. Harley Quinn, crazy. But she does have her moments of, wow, you just gave us a PSA. Because Harley Quinn, Dr. Quinzel at heart, is a very smart and caring person. Wow. Are you ready for this?
I think so. It's been a long time. We'll have to dust off the Harley Quinn issues.
Drum roll. Harley Quinn number 17. Red Meat Part 1. Mantra Mix-Up / Harley Loves Joker Part 1. Well, it's been quite a long time because Harley Quinn, to us, was a little absurd for some of those storylines. When we wanted to read them, we did read them, and we were, whoa, okay, yeah. But this one, I really liked.
Yeah, it's really strange when you open your email and Tom sends out a list of comics and includes Harley Quinn number 17 in parentheses. I actually really liked this one.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there like, whoa, am I misreading this? Like, did they change Harley Quinn's series or something? What happened? And
well, when you read it, what did you think when you read it?
It's good. It's a little more grounded for Harley Quinn, because when we started out with the zombie hot dog epidemic.
It was the alien hot dog zombie
the alien
epidemic.
Zombie hot dog epidemic. Sorry, forgot all my adjectives there. That was a little out there.
Yes.
Out there is a bit too soft for how that story arc was. But this is, well, I mean, this still involves vampires preying on homeless people, so it's not that grounded, but it's a little more, we can wrap our heads around it a little bit more, and it gives her a reason to go out and do something.
Yes.
Because a lot of those, like the alien zombie hot dog epidemic, was basically her sitting around watching zombies eat each other on TV.
Yes.
Not really going out and doing anything about it. That was just, it's hard for us to get over the weird nature of Harley's series, but I think we're getting closer to a point where we're okay with it.
I did read that this issue was going to be a jumping on point for new readers, and that's why they have a backup story with Paul Dini, which was one of the original creators, along with Bruce Timm, of Harley Quinn. Let's bring them up to speed. The homeless population is going missing, and they are going missing in droves. And what had happened was a corrupt government official, was it the mayor who brought the vampires in? Or
I think it was like a public relations, like a marketing gal who wanted to clean up some of the lower echelons of New York.
So they bring in the vampires to start taking away the homeless people, and they're feeding on the homeless people, unfortunately. The police officer, the chief of police, notices that the homeless are going missing. They contact Harley and says, we've had a case about 100 people talking, but they all go missing. And then we send undercover cops to pose as homeless people, and they go missing. And he says to Harley, have you even noticed some people going missing, homeless people? And she said, yes, there's a person that I know that I always bring food to him and talk to. He's gone missing as well. So Harley goes undercover out into one of the parks to pose as a homeless person. And she takes Red Tool, and she takes Mr. Egg.
I don't even remember what his name is. It's very hard for me to wrap my head around her supporting cast.
Right. And this is where the moment of Harley, when you see Dr. Quinzel, you're reminded of just who Harley Quinn was and who she is underneath that. They were talking about the homeless people, and Harley just basically says, we don't know their situation with post-traumatic stress and bad opportunities and everything. Is we don't know their stories, and we really need to get to know these people to find out what has happened to them, so we can try to make them better. There she was talking about mental illness, she's talking about all this stuff, and right in the middle of it you realize Harley Quinn is not as crazy as she makes herself out to be. I mean, she is crazy, but there is a level of her that we seldom get to see. And I think that's what I like the most about it is we've seen glimpses and issues about her grounded side. And we've seen it kind of in Suicide Squad as well. But this was the first time I was, okay, this is the Harley I remember.
Yeah, it's Harley with kind of a moral compass that gets it gets covered up. Maybe that's, you know, the rest of the Harley persona, that's all an act, or maybe it's even sort of an ADHD thing. She just kind of forgets about it because I mean, she spends so much time eating in this series.
Yes.
But yeah, to have a groundedness to that character that, you know, this is what I'm doing. I would like to see that as kind of maybe the underpinning. I mean, find some recurring thing for Harley to do.
Yes.
I mean, she strikes me as being kind of a hero, kind of an anti-hero who just doesn't have enough responsibility right now.
Yep.
You know, if we can get that would be a nice launch point. I think that would bring us reading that series a lot more. Not that we don't already. We normally read it behind the scenes. We just kind of shake our heads at some of the issues.
The ending to this issue for this story of this side, and then we'll talk briefly about the second one, was Harley had run off a group of teenagers who set fire to her tent and was more or less bullying the homeless people. That they've done it before. But as she gets rid of them, and Red Tool is getting taking out the trash for the police, the car comes up. The vampires get out, asking. We should make it clear that the police chief had told Harley, like, they heard reports of people coming up in a van offering food and shelter, that it was part of a government program, a city official program. So she kind of knew what was going on. That's why she said, "See my ID," and she ended up getting knocked out. And the next issue is, you know, red meat is what for dinner, and Harley will probably end up fighting the vampires. The backup to this issue is an original story based on Harley Loves Joker by Paul Dini and a couple other writers, but it's talked about, it was during the time of, kind of like Batman the Animated Series, when Joker and Harley were in love. And it really had that classic vibe to it. Yeah,
sort of pre-Harley Quinn series, where she's separated from the Joker and not, you know, kind of like a flashback tale to that. And it's it's close to New Year's, and Joker's trying to do all these robberies, and he keeps getting snubbed in that. And he's trying to find out, you know, he's starting to find out, okay, I'm gonna figure out who's doing that. I'm gonna, you know, out snub that guy. So you know, and this is such a different Harley than the one we get in the main story. Is, you know, I can actually read it in the voice of Arlene Sorkin. To an extent, you know. I mean, she kind of has that accent. I can't quite do that with main series Harley. I mean, I can't even really read her in the voice of
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I can't even quite do that. Kind of, a little bit, but not quite. It's just it was a nice kind of way to bridge the gap, because I know that was one of the things we had trouble with this series, was it's not really our Harley.
Exactly.
You know, it's a very different Harley. But at least we're getting both sides of Harley in this.
Becoming a well-rounded character. It's not going to say every issue we're going to like, but maybe in the long run there'll be more of us to enjoy. And we didn't talk about the subplot. Basically, Harley Sin sees Madame Macabre.
Madame Macabre.
Madame Macabre.
Yep.
And
who's the owner of the wax museum / burlesque show that Harley is currently in charge of. Because only Harley Quinn would end up in charge of a wax museum / burlesque show.
There'll be more about that subplot in the issues ahead, but right now I'd have to say this is a good starting. If you're kind of unsure about Harley Quinn, pick up this issue, read this, and let's see where the backstories go, and let's see how they bring readers that might have gotten away from Harley back to the fold. Superman number 20, Black Dawn Chapter 1. As we didn't have enough confusion after Superman Reborn, this is Superman Reborn, I forget what they're calling it, the Aftermath. We see, are they back in Kansas, or are they still in Hamilton?
They're in Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah, which isn't Hamilton's the county, I think, isn't it? Is it
I
Hamilton
think so.
County? Yeah. They're still there. They're not hiding as the Smiths anymore.
Right.
They're the Kents. It says that right on their mailbox. It says, what, Mr. and Mrs. C. Kent?
Yes.
which made me laugh a little bit. So they don't have to hide as the Smiths anymore. Because I guess since the other Superman and Lois were, I guess, erased or whatever, we'll still have to sort that out. They don't need to hide anymore.
Yep.
And they have a storm coming on, so they go and hide in the basement and play pool. And when Lois starts to say, hey, are we ever going to talk about what happened to the other Clark and Lois?
Right.
And Superman says, well, we'll talk about that at some point. So we're not getting any giant answers in this issue, but
No.
hopefully we'll get that down the road because we're still kind of curious to know what happened.
Yeah. What is it? Where does this all go?
Yeah.
But this looks like this story arc is going to focus on Jonathan. And we see as they're all going to sleep, Jonathan is ready to go to sleep, and then he sees a little familiar shadow in the barn. Oh no, not again. Then he's thinking, oh, not again. He puts on his little Superman suit, and he goes out there, and it's Batman and Damian are talking to Superman. And Superman, they're talking about philosophical differences between Batman and Superman. Like we said, they'll look at something and Superman will say, we need to see the light in this. Batman will say, we're seeing the dark. Or maybe we need to be brighter. And that's always going to be the different stories between Superman and Batman. But Batman's there for a reason, and that's for Jonathan.
Yeah. Batman has done some tests on Jonathan. He has the test results back. And he says that John, since he's a Kryptonian human hybrid, he should actually be stronger than Superman was at that age. Well, he should be at that, that particular power level. He says Jonathan's actually like way below that. He's way below average. He's not nearly as powerful as he should be. And Batman's really concerned about that. And he says, this might have global ramifications. And Superman says, well, we can figure that out as a family. Batman says, no, this might be an environmental link. If it's something in the house. And the one thing we do see is John's chugging milk, like multiple times during Batman's visit.
Yep.
Right out of the jar. And Batman eventually says, where do you get your milk from? And of course that comes from the Cobb family.
Yes.
Which is, we know, Kathy is John's friend who he hangs out with every now and then. And she has a grandpa who she lives with, and they run the milk
Cobb
farm.
there, yes.
Yeah. And so Batman goes over there to the barn. He meets Bessie, which is their cow. Takes presumably like a blood sample or something, or a milk sample or something. Yeah, milk sample. And his arm immediately attacks himself. Mutates into a giant black thing and envelops him in inky blackness. And it's like, okay. And eventually we hear what sounds like maybe Kathy's grandpa coming up saying, hey, Bessie, what's going on? Did you catch another interloper or something?
Yep.
It's like, whoa, what?
Well, there was a few issues ago that we didn't discuss. It was right before. Maybe we did.
I don't know, because we didn't do Dark Harvest.
No.
No.
It was Jonathan and Kathy were actually scared. They thought it was a hallucination, something to do with the fog, but they thought that Bessie was chasing them. Turned out like to be some type of green alien, and it was implied that there was more to Bessie than what meets the eye, and as well as the grandpa. So now we're getting back to that storyline, and there is something definitely wrong with Bessie and her milk, so she's not an ordinary cow.
Yeah.
So we'll see how what is drinking is affecting Jonathan and maybe the rest of the population in Hamilton.
Yeah, very strange. And also worth noting, every time Batman goes to the Kent family household, he ends up sitting at the table.
Yes.
He always ends up at the table. This time, he's even in the bat suit. Lois brings pie. Batman's not eating pie. Damian says that's because Batman doesn't like pie.
Yeah, because Jonathan says, why is he not eating pie? And Damian's all, Batman doesn't eat pie. It was so funny.
Even though he's eating pie.
Yeah, and then Damian shoves it in Jonathan's face, and then Lois says, I might not have super hearing, but I have eyes in the back of my head. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, because John was about to say, gee, I wonder if this is about, you and I going after a Mazo,
Yeah.
referencing what's happening
Mm-hmm.
in Super Sons right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, then Damian shoves it in, shoves
Yeah.
the pie in his mouth. And, yeah, just the super fun hijinks of having Batman
Yes.
at the Kent family household.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
And Damian just sitting there, just simmering. It is so hilarious to see those characters interact, to see their story of what Batman and what Damian view, and what Superman and Jonathan and Lois views is very interesting. I enjoyed that issue.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know where Superman Reborn Aftermath is going, but we're starting to get more pieces of this puzzle. And what do you think?
I was, kind of pleasantly surprised they were still back in Hamilton, not in Metropolis. I was expecting them to be back in Metropolis and kind of leave the rural stuff behind. But this still continues that, and who knows? Maybe if Betsy's an alien and the Cobb family is hiding some dark secret, maybe that's enough for them to get out of Metropolis and head back to Metropolis in the future. Who knows?
Right.
But this will be an interesting story arc, and I think we knew. The moment we met Kathy in the comics, those eyes, she was just, she was freaky in those old comics. That was
old issues of those eyes.
Who knows? We knew it. We knew it. You were hiding something. Yeah.
Now we'll find out what she's hiding. Good issue with Superman. Had a lot of fun in it, but there was a lot of seriousness as well. With that, we're going to take our second break, and when we come back, we are going to discuss Nightwing number 18 and wrap up with Batman number 20. We'll be back in just a moment.